people who contributed to the design and construction of the SS United States understood what they were doing. They knew that they were trying for the greatest ship in the world, and they knew that they were doing it as trustees for the citizens of the United States.
The 48 states at the time were represented in the construction of this ship, whether they supplied material or artwork.
The great industrial power of the United States is represented.
It's that romantic, bygone, high-quality era, like a cathedral being constructed. It's made to last forever.
It is the best rendition of a ship that I've ever seen.
We finally caught our initial glimpse of the big ship. I think our first impression was her beauty. Then as we came near, we were overwhelmed by her great size. The afternoon at the shipyard was thrilling. The crowd was enormous. Photographers seemed to be all over the place. I had never seen William Francis look happier. He was attired in his khaki coveralls, sat down on the dock, and just looked. It was rather an eerie feeling to realize we were nearly the last people to gaze on the bottom of this big ship.
Mrs. Tom Connolly, wife of the then senator from Texas, smashes the champagne bottle across the bow of the ship. I christen the United States.
I could not help thinking, she must be a peace ship. She represents America at peace.
All ashore that's going ashore, and welcome aboard. I'm Mark Perry, a ship geek and a founding board member of the SS United States Conservancy, and I'm also the co-chair of the West Coast chapter along with my maritime cousin here.
And I'm Mark David Eugene Perry, also a ship geek, and no relation to Mark except, well, we belong to that best family on earth, the family of ship lovers. And we're here to welcome you aboard as we embark on this second SS United States Conservancy Gala.
Now, last year we celebrated the anniversary of the ship's fabled maiden voyage on July 3rd. This year we chose June 23rd because it's a very significant date in SS United States history. First of all, in 1952 on this day, the ship made her maiden arrival, her very splashy arrival in New York Harbor prior to her maiden voyage. But in 1951 on this day, she was actually christened and launched. But she wasn't technically launched. David, can you explain that?
Well, thank you, Mark, for that point that other ship geeks will appreciate. You know, in years past, ships were launched down huge ways, tons of tallow and grease and soap to get them out. But the SS United States was floated out from my home state, the great Commonwealth of Virginia. I have to tell you, when I was a little boy growing up in Richmond, Virginia, I tortured the poor guy from Newport News shipbuilding because he would come and bring this little 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old, 10-year-old boy posters and things. And I would always say, do you have anything from the SS United States? Oh, Mark?
Oh, I'm sorry. I lost audio there for a second. Live television, folks. Here we are. So, last year we hosted a variety show, and this year we're doing something a little different. Every state in the Union back in the day, all 48 at the time, contributed in some way to the design, construction, or fitting out of the SS United States. It was a truly patriotic and completely bipartisan effort. And in that spirit, this year, we asked some of our Conservancy chapters to contribute to the gala, and we're really excited to show you what they've come up with from New York, the Southeast, Hampton Roads, and even all the way from Europe. What else do we have in store tonight, David?
Well, I was about to say, now we have some never-before-seen 16-millimeter home movies. So this is a premiere of sorts. This is of the ship launch, courtesy of Susan Dow and her family, and a sneak peek at a jaw-dropping virtual tour through the Big U by a young liner enthusiast and artist that, Mark, you and I met on board a Conservancy cruise a couple of years ago, the very talented and next generation of ship geek, Ryan Miller. And something I'm really excited about, someone who performs on ships and loves ships, the phenomenal cabaret singer and recording artist, Ann Hampton Calloway, with a song that she did just for us. That's coming up later in the show. But first, along the lines of televised ship geekdom, introducing our first very special guest, Jill Whalen of the Love Boat fame.
Jill Whelan. I used to play Vicky Stuving on the TV series The Love Boat. And since The Love Boat, I've been traveling the country working for Princess Cruises as their celebrations ambassador and singing and traveling the world with my show. But I still have salt water in my veins, so I just wanted to welcome you and say, please, please, please donate what you can to the USS United States and help preserve our maritime history. It's an amazing, amazing ship. So please, please donate and have a great time. Thank you. Welcome aboard.
You say USS, I say SS. It happens. We'll live. David, tell us about the links in the description below this video.
Well, thank you so much, because, in whatever language and whatever way you say it, the SS United States is America's flagship. And we've got some really exciting items up for auction, art and books, all kinds of things. And, we want to also specially mention the links to buying merchandise, because we need to keep the SS United States afloat so we can get her where she's going to be restored and servicing many, many more generations of maritime fans. And also, I want to give a shout out to our good friends at the Poland Group, because next year, now that we're once again able to be aboard deck, I hope all of you, because I will be there and so will Mark, be aboard for the next Conservancy Maritime Heritage Cruise. So make sure you visit our virtual exhibits and much more, all in the links below. Bidding is open until 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday, July 5th.
And this is all part of our ongoing work to keep the ship afloat and preserve her legacy for future generations. And our next guest is here to tell us more about that. Now, I first met her in 2002 at a gathering to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the ship's storied maiden voyage. And she read excerpts from her grandmother's journals, which were written aboard that historic crossing. And I was so inspired, I joined the effort, and I've been involved ever since. I am honored to introduce the granddaughter of the ship's designer, the president of the SS United States Conservancy, and my friend, Susan Gibbs.
Thank you all for joining our celebration of the SS United States, Our Lady in Waiting. The fact that she's still waiting and has been proudly afloat for 70 years is only because so many of us, so many of you, aren't only waiting. We are working, we are building, we are contributing, and we're coming together. We aren't letting her go. Together, we are preserving the ship's history. We're developing digital exhibitions, and we're building our museum collections. We're keeping her safe and sound at her Philadelphia pier. We are sharing her stories and rendering her historical importance and peerless design in paint, print, and photography. We're planning her future. We're sustaining a partnership with a top-flight commercial real estate firm, RXR Realty, that continues to pursue the ship's redevelopment in a challenging post-COVID economy and remains very supportive of the Conservancy's future Shipboard Museum and Innovation Center. We will keep you informed as this process advances. Finally, we are fundraising. We invite you to bid in our auction, join us next August on our fantastic cruise to New England and Canada, and become a Conservancy member. We are mounting a 70th anniversary appeal and would be deeply honored and profoundly grateful if you're able to contribute a special gift of $70 or whatever you can spare in honor of the ship reaching this milestone. Passages from my grandparents' accounts of the ship's launch were shared earlier, but I'll end with one more. My grandmother, Vera Gibbs, wrote of the ship's christening 70 years ago today. She wrote, "It is quite impossible to describe the various sensations we all experienced today. I think awe and jubilation were in proper proportion. The SS United States was created to give happiness." And she continued, "I thought of the day my husband first put his pencil on his drawing board and drew his first sketch. And then I thought of the thousands of man-hours and hundreds of men that had given their best in brain and brawn to create her. And then I looked up at the bow and it came over me with stunning force. Here she is. And here she is. And because of you, 70 years later, she is still here. Because of you, the SS United States continues to give not only happiness, but pride, beauty, strength, and inspiration. So thank you so much for all of your support, and please enjoy the show.
Since 1994, Virginia's finest chocolates in Williamsburg, Virginia, has been creating small batch handmade chocolates with loving detail. Chocolatier and Newport News native Mary Griffith loves creating special order chocolates that celebrate life's milestones. For the 70th anniversary of the United States christening and launch, Mary has crafted chocolate-dipped champagne glasses. A sweet white chocolate was chosen to complement the special wine for the event, and festive red, white, and blue sprinkles adorn the rim of each glass. Also available to commemorate the anniversary are dozen-count freshly baked chocolate chunk cookies that feature 3 different edible images: a painting of the ship inside a life ring, the United States line's Eagle logo, or a photo of the Big U at high speed. To top it off, each cookie is individually wrapped and tied with a curled blue ribbon. Mountain Rose Vineyards in Weiss, Virginia proudly offers Karaoke, a semi-sweet, sparkling Tremonette white wine. While similar to a demi-sec champagne, it has more bubbles and a higher alcohol content than Moscato, but with a similar fruit-forward palate profile. For our wine connoisseurs out there, Karaoke's aromatics include orange blossom and honeysuckle, with soft rose water flavors in the bubbles, and finishes with a zippy tropical citrus tone. Intended to be consumed when it's freshly uncorked and well-chilled, this wine can be paired with apple desserts, fresh berries, salads, and cheesecakes. The sweet zippy combination also makes this white wine great with spicy foods, creamy cheeses, and fruits. Finally, much like the United States was a blue ribbon ship, Karaoke is a blue ribbon wine due to being awarded the 2018 gold medal by the Atlantic Seaboard Wine Association.
To my friend and devoted supporter of the Big U, Mr. Carl Wesch. Thank you, Carl. Now, we all know that ships are christened with sparkling wine, but it occurs to me, I don't know anything about the origins of that tradition. How about you, David?
Well, that's a great question, because everyone just assumes that ships are christened with a bottle of champagne, or more technically correct, sparkling wine. One of my favorite mistakes in a great film is the movie A Night to Remember, which, except for this one scene, I think tells that storied ship's history the best, when they show a bottle of champagne cracking over the Titanic. The White Star Line didn't launch their ships with champagne, which upset a lot of people. But this tradition has been going on a long time. Ever since humans first went to sea, they would celebrate when new ships were launched. The Babylonians sacrificed oxen to mark the occasion, a mode of christening that thankfully didn't stick. The tradition of breaking a bottle of sparkling wine over the bow originated in 1891, when Queen Victoria launched the Royal Navy ship, the HMS Royal Arthur. Before that, non-sparkling wines were used, but Queen Victoria apparently knew how to party, because when the champagne bottle explodes, as we all know, it's much more festive, Mark.
And now, to tell us more about the christening of the SS United States, I am happy to introduce our Hampton Roads chapter, right in the heart of the Big U's birthplace. Let's hear from co-chairs Stanton Daywalt and Elizabeth Fletcher, and you might want to pour a glass of bubbly for this one.
When Homer Ferguson was president of Newport News Shipbuilding, his wife made the suggestion to have a metal cage placed over christening bottles to prevent a ship sponsor from being injured by flying glass. Thinking this was a good idea, and from then on, he had an aluminum bottle holder made by a shipyard employee several weeks prior to a christening. The sparkling wine for the United States christening was made by the M. Hummel Champagne Company of Sandusky, Ohio. The netting was crocheted by Mrs. Nanny Fuller, who worked in the purchasing department at the shipyard. Mrs. Fuller made all the christening netting and ribbon from 1920 until her death in 1958. These were pre-made in her spare time, so she had them ready whenever they were needed. Using a ginger ale bottle as the same size as the sparkling wine bottle ensured she had the netting size correct. The last part added was the ribbon embroidery in case the ship's name or christening date was changed. On the day of the christening, the bottom of the aluminum casing was slid over the bottle and sealed. Prior to being sealed, and in order to make it easier to break, the glass on the bottle was scored with a glass cutter. The netting was then placed over the casing and tightened at the base, much like a drawstring bag is closed. Finally, the ribbons were then tied in place at the top, and it was all suspended from lines at the bow, ready for the sponsor to perform their duty.
Mrs. Tom Connolly, wife of the then senator from Texas, smashes the champagne bottle across the bow of the ship. I christen the United States.
When the holder is turned over, the indentation and tear in the netting where it hit the bow 70 years ago today is still visible on the back. The bottle holder was on display during the United States service career and remained on board after her withdrawal in 1969. After U.S. Cruises of Seattle bought the ship in 1980, they felt the interior design was inappropriate for their luxury cruise ship. So, during the October 1984 auction in Norfolk, the bottle holder and many other items were put up for sale. The holder was purchased by Philip S. Ferrand, who then donated it to the Mariners Museum, where it has remained in their care ever since.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Fletcher, author of the children's book Grandfather's Ship, the SS United States, and advisory council member of the SS United States Conservancy. This year marks the 70th anniversary of America's flagship's christening. The ship was bridged the time between the 20th and 21st centuries for many reasons, but one of the most significant is STEM research. STEM research was in its infancy in the 1950s, and the SS United States embodied science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in one lovely aluminum package. She still holds the title of the fastest transatlantic steamship in the world, not a bad credit to her builders, Newport News Shipbuilding. The SS United States was built in Newport News, Virginia, and baptized in the James River on June 23, 1951. She was the product of her designer, William Francis Gibbs, lots of subsidy funding, copious hours of manpower, drafting, constructing, and designing, and it all culminated into a glorious ship that we continue to celebrate today. To commemorate this maritime event, the SS United States Conservancy joined Mountain Rose Vineyards in Wise, Virginia, to offer a special wine for this occasion. Karaoke, a white sparkling wine, may now be purchased so that we may enjoy sipping some bubbly while watching the virtual gala on June 23rd and celebrating the 70th anniversary of the SS United States christening. Incidentally, a bottle of domestic sparkling wine was used to christen the SS United States, not imported champagne. Therefore, it is a touching tribute to America's flagship that we sip a Virginia wine in honor of her christening. After all, the SS United States is a Virginia girl born and bred and entered the world's maritime stage, proving that although a beauty, she was also powerful and mighty. So join me now for a toast. Here's to the good ships, here's to the grand ships, here's to the blue Ray-Ban winner of the sea. But the best ships are friendships, loves, and kinships. Here's to you and to me. Long live America's flagship, the SS United States. Cheers.
Well, it's not quite cocktail hour here on the West Coast. What's that?
I said, I will certainly drink to that, even though it's not quite cocktail hour on the West Coast. It is in Virginia.
Well, I was going to say, that prior to cocktail hour, I like to break out the SS United States service items and enjoy a good hot cup of ironclad coffee roasters blue riband roast. Simultaneously robust and mellow, it's as smooth as a calm sea. That's coffee. And a portion of every sale is donated to the SS United States Conservancy, so it's a win-win. I even buy it in the 5-pound bag. So order yours by clicking the link in the description below this video and tell them Commodore Perry sent you.
Well, and the other Commodore Perry says that I think Vanna White's job, if she was still doing it, would be in trouble. You're quite a pitchman, and a pitchman for our favorite lady, the SS United States. But Mark, there are a lot of other generous vendors and supporters who help fund the Conservancy's work, like the vintner and chocolatiers we heard about just a moment ago. And our friends Jim Pollan and the Pollan Group talk about the upcoming Heritage Cruise and hear how to register. So let's take a sneak peek at that. Well, here's to our friends at the Pollan Group. I tell you, they do a fantastic job, and they are the best friends a ship and a ship geek could have. To learn more about that cruise and register, there's a link for that too. And of course, I know I'll be on that cruise, and how fitting that we'll be retracing the steps of the SS United States by sailing out of her home port, the Big Apple, for the Big U, New York City.
And I really am waiting to see her triumphant return to her home port, where those iconic funnels can once again be a welcome addition to the city's skyline. And speaking of the Big Apple, let's hear from them next. Oh, but first, everybody lift a glass, even though it's not quite cocktail hour here. Lift a glass and toast the chairman of the New York chapter, Mr. Paul Stipkovich, who's celebrating a birthday right along with our ship today. Happy birthday, Paul. Here's to the Big U and you. And now, let's take a look at our New York chapter's fascinating bit of maritime archaeology.
Hi, Glenn Lappin here from the New York chapter. Thank you for your continued support, and have a great summer.
Hello, everybody out there in TV land. I am Paul Stipkovich. I am one of the co-chairs of the SS United States Conservancy's New York chapter. And on behalf of the chapter and my co-chair, Glenn Lappin, we'd like to thank you for coming today. The SS United States, as you know, was launched 70 years ago this year, in June of 1951, and we're celebrating that tonight. Glenn and I put together a little something about the ship's history in the mid-60s during the New York World's Fair, and we thought perhaps you might find it interesting yourselves.
Picture this: New York City, 1964. The superliner SS United States is returning to her pier on Manhattan's west side. Many of the ship's passengers and crew are eager to see what has just opened on the other side of town. It is the 1964-65 New York World's Fair. It is here that countries and corporations from around the globe are showing off all the best of what they have to offer. And one of these pavilions is a Mobil Corporation, located in the transportation area. Mobil advertised their presence at the fair with handouts of host packs, which included brochures, maps, and window decals. Mechanics of the Big U were very familiar with Mobil products, as they have been lubricating most of the ship's moving parts since 1952. Somehow, one of these decals found its way into the belly of the SS United States, where it has remained for over half a century. We can only assume it was by a crew member who monitored the ship's air conditioning system, who took it upon himself to meticulously place one of these promotional decals inside one of the gauges he monitored.
Hello. This is an instrument panel from one of the 3 large air conditioning chillers aboard the SS United States. These chillers would provide air conditioning by using steam from the engine room, and it would convert via thermal reaction with the bromide and create an evaporative effect, send chilled water, pump it through the ship to all the air handlers, all the lounges, all the cabins, everything. So at the time the SS United States was built, she was the first fully air-conditioned ocean liner. Anyway, we're going to bring the panel back to life, so hang on a sec. Okay, so the lights that you see at the bottom, those are warning lights. They're the original bulbs. They're behind sawtooth glass protective lenses. And, you know, they run on household current, believe it or not. So, if you look in the left gauge, you'll see a decal from the 1964-1965 World's Fair. That was given to the ship because they buy so many Mobil lubricant products that they just probably threw that in there. And one of the engineers went through the trouble of taking the bezel off of the gauge and putting the decal on the inside and putting the bezel back. So it's pretty cool that the SS United States has a connection to the World's Fair, which she brought so many passengers to from Europe and home again. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed this little presentation and have a great day.
You know,
something
Mark,
for everybody.
I love seeing, you know, that sense of history, and that people are as passionate now as they always have been about the history of the Big U. It just really, really fills me with joy. You know, I'm talking to you today from that great port called Palm Springs, California, which is probably the mid-century modern design capital of the world. And is there any better example of mid-century modern exquisite design than the SS United States? I ask you. No. And we are certainly hoping that one day the SS United States can be part of an exhibit here in Palm Springs for Modernism Week. So anyone out there who thinks that's a good idea, talk to us. But more importantly, you should talk to the person who curates all the incredible exhibits for the SS United States Conservancy, including the current one about advertising the SS United States, which I have been going through over and over again online. So enough about me. Let's hear from her, the Conservancy's amazing curatorial associate, Sydney Sheehan.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us on this very special 70th anniversary of the launch of the SS United States. Like many, the Conservancy has dealt with a particularly hard year, but it has been a year of triumphs as well. Taking heed of the increasingly digital world that we have come to live in, the Conservancy launched our very first digital exhibition, advertising the United States, discovering America's flagships through prints, posters, and advertisements. This exhibition considered how American identity was shaped by advertisements, especially those of a national monument like the SS United States. It asks questions like, what can we learn about a cultural moment, or even ourselves, when we engage critically with certain narratives? Our digital exhibition allowed the Conservancy to share our robust collection with the public in an accessible and an engaging way. We've had over 3,000 visitors to this exhibition since launching in April of 2021 and are planning an engaging panel discussion surrounding the exhibition that we've titled Opulent Crossings, Post-War Tourism, Advertising, and Design. Bringing together scholars whose work touches on themes explored in the exhibition, from fashion history to the post-war tourism boom, this panel, set for Wednesday, August 11th at 6 p.m., hopes to be yet another way for the Conservancy to reach out and engage the public on the importance of saving America's flagship. Registration for this event will open later in the summer, and we really hope to see you there. Finally, I would like to thank you, our audience, and our generous supporters, for whom we would not have been able to develop such an exciting project. From donations of important objects and advertisements to useful suggestions from our previous member-wide survey, we greatly appreciate the support and excitement that we receive daily from those who believe in our mission. If you haven't already checked out our digital exhibition, please do at ssusc.org, and don't forget to sign our virtual guest book. Thank you.
Well, I know I'm excited for all of that. So, David, you and I share not only the same last name and an insane love of ships, but we also hail from the South, just like the SS United States. And the Conservancy's Southeast chapter covers several southern states, so they actually have 4 co-chairs. And we're going to hear from them now.
Hi, I'm Mike Strasbaugh, the Southeast Chapter Chairman of the SS United States Conservancy. I first learned about the ship when I was in 3rd grade. There is a photo of her in a textbook, and I always remembered those 2 iconic red, white, and blue funnels glistening in the sunlight in that photo. From there on, I fell in love with it. Fast forward to 2015, I became the chapter chairman. Ever since then, I have done my utmost to promote the ship, help spread the word about our mission at the Conservancy to turn the ship into a static, mixed-use facility where people can come from around the world to marvel at America's ship of state. This ship was built entirely of materials made in this country, and she is at 92% her original structural integrity, a testament to when Made in America truly meant the best. And this ship is the best.
Hi, I'm Connor Finnegan. I'm a co-chair of the Southeast chapter, and it's a privilege to be with you all tonight. My connection to the SS United States began in 1996 when she first cast her long shadow over the Delaware River, just a few minutes from where I grew up. I was 8, and to this day, I don't think I'll ever forget her sight. But as beautiful as our big ship is, for me, there's more to her than her lines and her formation. The story of the United States is one that has inspired people from all over the world. To save her is not just to save a piece of our history. To lose her would be like losing Disneyland. To live in a world robbed of a dream. It would be a failure of imagination on the part of all of us, the descendants of genius, whose creations still have the power to excite and inspire. On behalf of dreamers everywhere, thank you for being part of our ship's next great chapter.
Hello, Frank Slate Brooks from Greensboro, North Carolina. Our home is basically a tribute to the United States. I have been a fan since I was 13 years old and was fortunate enough to tour the ship fully intact when on November 7th, 1979, and just love the United States. She is everywhere in our home.
This morning I'd like to tell you about Captain Colby. He was my husband, but he was a fabulous man of the sea. Bill had no greater love than that, the SS United States. That was his last assignment as first officer, actually, on that. He started his career in New Rochelle, New York, when he was just a kid working at the Yacht Club. And he gave up marching with his class to sail in the America's Cup for members of the Yacht Club. And from there, he went to the Maritime Academy, graduated. His first ship was the Roving Eye, and then he was captain of the SS America, which he loved. But he was solicited to be the captain of the SS United States, and that became his obsession. Before me, I have the artifacts, some artifacts of him. His picture is a handsome man, and his sextant, and the clock that his crew gave him on that first maiden voyage, and a little candy box, which I use constantly. And behind me there's a painting that Maria did of the ship in Philadelphia as it is now. My hope and prayer is that this ship will be restored, and that the memory of these men, all Americans, born in America, they built a ship in America, that ship will be restored and their memories will never be lost.
Hello, this is Dolly, and I fully support this amazing effort to restore the SS United States. It's a cause that we can all rally around during these troubled times, and I hope you'll consider contributing to this worthy cause.
You know, Dolly recorded that segment for us for last year's gala, and personally, I never get tired of hearing Dolly Parton throw support to the SS United States and the Conservancy. David, you know, there's another historic liner that's a good example, setting a really good example for the SS United States. And it has been saved and restored for future generations. She was a contemporary of the Big U, and she's an example to us all. You know what ship I'm talking about, right?
You are talking about the Great Rotterdam Five. And, you know, there's a history of great ship lines repeating the names of ships. You know, the White Star Line had several Britannics. The glass that I'm using tonight, a martini glass from the Lurline. Well, the last Lurline, the Matsons had like 3 of them. They kept renaming them. And the Rotterdam Five, many people feel was the height of that name's design. And thankfully, she has been restored into a glorious hotel. I've never stayed aboard her, but I promise you, one day I will. There are lots of ships around the world that have now become hotels or museums, but without playing favorites, the Rotterdam Five is really, really special. They've done a beautiful job of restoring her, and I can't wait to be aboard in one of those comfy cabins.
Well, I'm here to tell you that we had the pleasure of visiting and staying aboard the ship back in 2017, and I swear I almost wept when I saw how beautiful she looked, all freshly painted in her original livery. It's an amazing restoration. And now we're really excited to share with you this inspirational vision from our European chapter. And as you watch, just try to picture similar footage of a restored and repurposed SS United States.
Who doesn't know the famous story about the Grand Old Lady, steamship the Rotterdam? My name is Casper van Hoorn from the Netherlands, and I'm a developer and former co-owner of this beautiful ship. In 1959, the SS Rotterdam was built in the city of Rotterdam as flagship for Holland America Line. She is 750 feet long and could accommodate up to 1,400 guests. At that time, she belonged to the 5 biggest ships in the world. It was 1997, and after 37 years of sailing the ocean successfully, she retired. In 2005, my company was in a lucky position to acquire the ship in cooperation with a social real estate company. And after a 5-year conversion, the ship is permanently moored at her place of birth, Rotterdam, the Netherlands. In a legal way, we turned the ship into a building. Facilities like water, electricity, waste and data are coming right from the pier. And now the SS Rotterdam is a unique 250-key hotel with function rooms, shops, restaurants, a business club and last but not least a true heritage museum with tours throughout the engine room. The ship is not a regular hotel but part of the neighborhood in terms of culture, history, tourism and maritime education. Please come over to the Netherlands and be our guests on board. Let the SS Rotterdam be a proof of concept for the future of the SS United States. The Dutch did it, and America must save the SS United States, now.
Well, that was fantastic, but wait, I'm getting here something from the producer. This is late breaking news. Evidently, we have some footage that just came in yesterday. Evidently, it's very rare and a never-before-seen eyewitness to history piece of footage. Mark, why don't you tell us about it?
Well, here's how this came about. Our own Hampton Roads chapter's Elizabeth Fletcher wrote to me a while back and told me that a friend of hers just happened to have some vintage film of the ships floating out and christening, and she put me in touch with Susan Dow, whose grandfather, Harold F. Jorgensen, was a draftsman and designer who worked on the Big U. In fact, he designed the ship's gorgeous first-class dining room. Jorgensen was also an amateur filmmaker, and on the day of the ship's launch, he was aboard footage of the ship as she was floated out. Now look closely in this footage and you'll see the red, white, and blue bunting visible on the ship's bow, and you'll also notice that her superstructure isn't yet fitted out. The film also includes the ship in July 1952 as crew members are putting a few last-minute finishing touches on our girl for her record-breaking maiden voyage. Now, this was a very quick transfer done for tonight's event, and we'll be having this footage professionally restored. But I should mention, as a friendly warning, that the shutter speed causes some strobing effects throughout this 3.5-minute film. So if you're sensitive to that, I just want you to be aware. That said, we still wanted to share this amazing footage with you for tonight's anniversary of the launch. And Susan Dow says, thanks for making her family's treasured heirloom a part of this celebration. And on behalf of the Conservancy, thank you, Susan. And now, for the first time in decades, let's take a look. I love seeing history come alive like that. Now, again, we're going to have this historic footage professionally transferred and restored for the Conservancy's archives with deep gratitude to Susan Dow and her family. And now, David, I'm excited about this next guest, and I guess you're pretty anxious to introduce her as well.
Well, I am, because, I mean, what would any cruise be without some wonderful entertainment? And the person we have now is indeed very, very special. Ann Hampton Callaway, known around the world, incredible voice, incredible talent, and also incredibly quick on the talent. So many people have heard her aboard ship, where she will perform and she will ask the audience, give me a word, give me a phrase. And right there, she will compose something specific to that occasion. And so what we're about to hear is a unique, original creation by the one and only Ann Hampton Callaway. Take it away.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ann Hampton Callaway. Now, I have performed on quite a few amazing ships across the world, and the most historic and important ship ever built in this country is our nation's flagship, the SS United States. I'm so honored to be helping the nonprofit SS United States Conservancy save this irreplaceable part of our heritage. And I look forward to celebrating and being aboard her one day when she's restored and serving as an incredible educational facility. I hope you'll be there too. Now let me bring you on a voyage, a love song that will take you and sweep you away into another world. This is a song I wrote many years ago, and I sing it with much love, and thank you so much for being a patriotic supporter of this important cause.
Once I believed I never would know the joy of you beside me now. Come take my hand, let us walk through the sand that we have found in each other. I never dreamed we'd discover such a world inside our love. Look, there's our sky with the moon and the stars that we have wished on together. And there's the sea, she's still singing our song, and it could last forever. Along the shore, see the birds as they soar, our every dream and desire. Let's send them higher and higher as they inspire us more. And as years go by, let our hearts come awake with every turn in the road that we take, till hand in hand we have covered the sand with all our see the birds as they soar, our every dream and desire. Let's send them higher and higher as they inspire us more. And as years go by, let our hearts come awake with every turn in the road that we take.
Wow. I have worked with a lot of cabaret acts and singers over the world, and there are talents, and then there are talents who are fabulous and nice, and that's Ann Hampton Callaway, of course, and many people know her sister, Liz Callaway. So thank you so much, Ann. It was great, and we look forward to seeing you back here in this great port city of Palm Springs later this year and early next, hopefully at the Purple Room Cabaret.
We also look forward to seeing her perform aboard a restored and repurposed SS United States. Speaking of, back in May 2018, David and I, remember this, we were aboard the Celebrity Summit for the Conservancy's first Maritime Heritage Cruise that was generously sponsored by Jim Poland and the Poland Group, just like our upcoming cruise in 2022 that we've been telling you about that you don't want to miss. Hit the link below. While aboard the first cruise, we were delighted to meet and befriend the Miller family, Scott, Amanda, Ryan, and Matthew. Now, Ryan was 13 at the time and clearly a junior shipster in the making. Like William Francis Gibbs, Ryan was always drawing the big U. In fact, I still have the picture he drew for me here that he gave to me on that voyage. Now, flash forward to today, and Ryan has gone from pencil and ink to pixels and computer animation. And I am so tickled that he has agreed to share this with us. His love for our ship is visible in every frame. And now, from young shipster and Conservancy supporter Ryan Miller, here's a stroll through the Big U.
Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Miller. Ever since I was little, I've absolutely loved ships and everything to do with ocean liners. But when I first stumbled across the SS United States, I knew right then and there I had found the most beautiful ship in the entire world. I had always dreamed to go aboard her, but the experience of America's flagship had remained a mystery to me. After compiling countless books, photographs, and footage of the ship, I created, to the best of my ability, a virtual recreation of the Big U. It is my pleasure to welcome you tonight to see a sneak peek of America's flagship. And if you're quite ready, welcome aboard the SS United States.
them out. That is so spectacular. I could watch that all day and night, and trust me, I have. And every time I see it, I notice some new little detail that Ryan threw in there. But wait, there's more. Ryan has also created a full 8-minute version of the video that takes you into even more rooms and spaces aboard the ship and features some stunning nighttime exteriors that are almost like being there. And he's generously loaning us his amazing work to our fundraising efforts. If you donate $70 or more, $70 in honor of the 70th anniversary, if you donate $70 or more between now and 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday, July 5th, we'll send you a super secret link where you can see Ryan's 8-minute loving and meticulous recreation of the SS United States in all of her high definition glory. Just click the donate link in the description below the video and contribute before the deadline.
Wow, I tell you, if that plus a cocktail doesn't open the purses and the wallets and the checkbooks of every ship geek that's watching this, I don't know what would. I mean, doggone, that's pretty fabulous. And speaking of fundraising, our auction items are right there now, and bidding continues until 5 p.m. Eastern Time again, Monday, July 5th. So be sure to bid now. And please don't forget to register for the Poland Group's upcoming Heritage Cruise. Buy some stuff, all in the link below. You know, Mark, there have been some silver linings to COVID. It's been a rough year. We've lost people, but some new connections have been made. And through the miracle of technology and through the incredible generosity of Anita Castellina and everyone at Beyond Pix who've made us look good, you know what? We have gotten through this. So, you know, I want to raise a toast to all those we've lost during this incredible and painful year, but also raise a toast to all of us who are keeping on, and remembering that the love of history and the love of our maritime history will continue. So to everyone who is with us tonight, thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed the show. There's nothing left to say, but good night, Mark.
Good night, Mark. And bon voyage.
And ahoy, bon voyage.
Thanks for watching.
Yes, okay. Since Washington was headman of the nation, and Martha was first lady of the land, Americans with justified elation have found first ladies to be grand. Now there has always been first ladies of the nation, but never a first lady of the sea. It's as though the people waited for a ship to really rate it, and now they found the key. Salute the United States, First Lady of the Sea. Power in every line, she has beauty and dignity. The first lady of the sea, endowed with her country's traits, proud of her destiny, the SS United States. She's got New York style, California's grace, the Midwest strength and Texas space, the Southland's charm and the nation's pace. She's got freedom's form and liberty's face. So salute the United States, proclaim triumphantly in a mighty voice, the people's choice. She's the first lady of the sea. That's right. Isn't it great? She's got New York style and California's grace, the Midwest strength and Texas space, the Southland's charm and the nation's pace. She's got freedom's form and liberty's face. So salute the United States, proclaim triumphantly